Shekinah gets exposed as Ty's fight explodes. Patrick goes too far, the last resort. Okay, because the last resort times, just went from messy to completely unbearable. Shekinah is getting dragged by basically the entire group after the explosive pub fight with Tice, and somehow nobody seems capable of admitting that both women were wrong. Shekinah said things she absolutely should not have said. Tice then got physical, and now everyone wants to hold Shekinah accountable while acting like Tice has nothing to apologize for. And then Patrick jumps in with one of the nastiest attacks of the entire season, telling Shekinah that she is basically the worst person he's ever met. Yeah? Things are officially out of control. But before we get into that disaster, there is another relationship falling apart right in front of us. And this time, it's Russ and Paula. Because apparently, after ** 12 years together, **, Russ still hasn't figured out one very simple thing his wife has been telling him over and over again. She does not want another necklace. Let's start with Sumit and Russ taking on the mountain rappelling challenge. And honestly, I was surprised by Sumit because he actually seemed to have a great time. He was enjoying himself, which was nice to see considering how much tension he's been carrying throughout this season. Zeed and Guillermo went next, and Zeed even called it the best experience of his life. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Sumit drops another major relationship bombshell. He says he doesn't believe in the concept of marriage. His reasoning? He feels like Jenny uses marriage as a way to control him. And honestly, I can understand why Sumit feels trapped. From his perspective, Jenny wants to know where he is, what he's doing, who he's with, and how he's spending his time. But here's the problem. If you don't believe in marriage, why are you still married? At some point, you have to actually confront the problem instead of just complaining about the consequences. Then we get the Tice and Patrick pregnancy scare. And I'm sorry, but the whole thing felt incredibly staged to me. They take a pregnancy test on camera, despite everything we've heard about Tice not wanting another baby. Maybe it was genuine, but the whole scene just didn't feel believable. Then we get to Russ and Paula's anniversary. They're celebrating ** 12 years together, **, and Russ plans an archery date. Paula is excited, she's shooting arrows, and everything seems like it's going pretty well. Then Russ pulls out her gift, a jewelry box. Paula immediately looks terrified. She basically says, "Please, don't let this be another necklace." And guess what? It's another necklace. After 12 years together, after Paula has apparently told him repeatedly that she doesn't want more necklaces, Russ gives her another necklace. And it's not even a subtle little necklace. It's this gigantic swan design. Paula tries to be polite, but you can literally see the disappointment on her face. Russ says the swans represent love and create a heart shape. And while the sentiment may have been sweet, here's the problem. ***, the gift isn't really about what Paula wanted. It's about what Russ likes giving her. ***. That seems to be a recurring issue between them. And Paula knows it. She eventually gives Russ his gift, and he absolutely loves it because she actually took his preferences into consideration. So now they're both unhappy. Paula feels unheard. Russ feels unappreciated. And once again, neither one seems capable of communicating without making the other person feel guilty. Now let's get to the real explosion. The couples gather for therapy, and the therapist asks Shekinah and Sarper how things went. They give the classic reality TV answer, "It was fine. We're good, everything's okay." Except Rebecca immediately calls bullshit, and Patrick jumps in too. This is where everything starts going off the rails. The conversation turns back to the pub incident involving Shekinah and Tice. And this is where I think everyone needs to take a step back, because two things can be true at the same time. ***, Shekinah was wrong for what she said. ***, and ***. Tice was wrong for getting physical. ***, Asterisk, asterisk. It's really not that complicated. Shekinah has admitted that she could have chosen different words. Good, that's accountability. But she keeps emphasizing that she was reacting to being physically attacked and that actions hurt more than words. And I understand why she feels that way. But saying something offensive doesn't magically disappear because someone later attacked you. At the same time, Thais cannot use Shekinah's words as justification for physically attacking her. If you're going to demand accountability from one person, you need to demand it from both. And that's exactly where this group loses me. Everyone seems determined to make Shekinah the villain. But when the therapist asks Thais to take responsibility for her part, Thais basically responds, "Did Shekinah take accountability?" Girl, that wasn't the question. The question was whether you were willing to take accountability. You don't get to avoid responsibility just because somebody else hasn't apologized yet. And then Kara basically tells Shekinah that her refusal to take accountability is a superpower at this point. That's when Shekinah becomes increasingly defensive. Then Thais calls her a racist. And Sarper actually pushes back on that because, to be fair, that's a serious accusation. But Kara responds with the basic argument that if you don't want to be called a racist, don't say things that sound racist. And again, I understand the point. But there still needs to be accountability on both sides. Then Sarper makes the situation even crazier. He says Patrick should have protected Thais during the fight because there was glass involved and she could have been seriously injured. Patrick and Thais fire back that Shekinah was the one who threw the glass. Shekinah says Thais was swinging at her face with her nails and she was trying to defend herself. And now we're right back where we started. Nobody agrees on what happened. Nobody wants to apologize. And everybody thinks they're the victim. But then Patrick crosses a completely different line. He tells Shekinah that what she said wasn't okay and then absolutely unloads on her. He says she's the worst person he's ever met. And I'm sorry, but that was unnecessary. You can condemn someone's behavior without completely destroying them as a person. And the funniest part is that Sarper, who has been one of the more entertaining people this season, suddenly finds himself caught in the middle. Because now his girlfriend is being attacked by basically the entire group. And I wouldn't blame Shekinah if she decided she was done with all of them. At this point, I honestly don't know what this group needs more. Therapy or a time machine so they can go back and prevent that pub night from ever happening. Because this entire season has become one giant accountability competition where everybody is screaming about what everyone else did while conveniently forgetting what they did. Shekinah needs to apologize. Thais needs to apologize. Patrick needs to stop escalating every argument. And honestly, Russ needs to listen to Paula when she tells him what she actually wants. Because if your wife has spent years telling you she doesn't want another necklace, maybe, just maybe, don't buy her another necklace. So now I want to hear from you. Asterisk, who do you think owes the bigger apology? Shekinah or Thais? Asterisk. And was Patrick completely out of line for attacking Shekinah like that? Or did she finally get the confrontation everyone had been waiting for? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I already know this one is going to be controversial. And if you're as exhausted by this season as I am, hit that subscribe button, because apparently we still have more chaos to survive. I'll see you in the next recap.